The Community Voice. I'm Fara Sax. I have the privilege today for my show Coming from Israel. Joining me today is Danielle Yablonka. I've known this young woman for many, many years, and today we're going to talk about her story, her journey from Miami to Israel to live her dream and look at her perspective of life after October 7th and living in time of war, where the challenges might not be known to many of our audiences. So Danielle, thank you so much for joining me today here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, not here, there, 6,000 miles apart, but the beauty of Zoom and being close through this video. Thank you so much. Walk me through what motivated you to move to Israel and your journey getting to this moment.
Well, last summer, if you'd asked me if I would move to Israel years ago, my answer would be absolutely not. It's too small. It's too far. It's too this and that. What is the beeping noise? Oh, sorry. It's too small. And then I was just sitting here last summer with some friends on the beach working on our computers, and I just looked around and I said, like, I want to live here. I want to be here. I want to be here. So I started an application to come and teach here. And then October 7th happened, and I felt an even greater urge to move here and be here and where it's happening and do what I can to report. And yeah, I don't regret it.
And it's very interesting because your work here has been always on Zionistic projects, activism, and being an influencer, a model, an artist, and you really always had that within you. It's almost like it's in your DNA.
Yeah. So, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So how did it go from Miami to Israel and making that really come to the surface, and that you really felt like I've got to do more. I've got to do more. Where does that come from? I mean, you're sitting on a beach, yes, but it had to have come from long ago in your upbringing.
I mean, when I was sitting on that beach, I wasn't just sitting and tanning. I had my computer on my lap on the beach with a bunch of other friends who are in the activist space. And we were just brainstorming and talking and kicking back ideas. And I just looked around and I was like, these are the people I want to be around. I feel the most me I've ever been in my life. I want to be here and not have to prove to everyone all the time that I'm Jewish and that I'm like wearing my star, and yes, I am Jewish, I'm Israeli. Like, I was tired of having to prove myself. Did I lose you? Oh
no, we're fine.
I saw myself go on the big screen. I was like, oh, it's just me. So I just wanted to I wanted to be somewhere where I didn't have to explain myself all the time, that I'm just me and I'm Jewish. And I've always loved my identity. I grew up going to Chabad. My parents have always been supportive of my decisions and my experiences and opportunities. And that's how I got to where I am.
And who were some of the influences? You talked about your parents during this, your Jewish identity. Who were some of those mentors along the way that were in Miami or even in Israel, where you are right now?
Ooh, I think my greatest mentor is my friend Raina Exelbeard. She was actually my mentor in high school when she was my Stand With Us advisor. And even after Stand With Us, she just stayed my mentor, and she always motivates me and pushes me. And I love her for that. And of course, my parents. I'm very lucky to have parents who support me in my journey and my choices. Not every parent allows their kid to go move to Israel in the middle of a war. And I am grateful that even though it was hard, I know they supported me in that. And other influences, there are just so many incredible people who, for me, honestly, an inspiration is college students across the country in the US, that if they can be on a college campus right now dealing with the worst anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism, I can be in Israel and I can at least give my platform to those who need a voice.
And let's talk about that. When you were living in the States, you were in a college in California, you were in North, in the Boca area. Um, and as an activist and an influencer, you post a lot about this anti-Semitic rhetoric and the hate for Jews, hate for Israel. I want to understand, what have you learned in your journey so far that you would like our audience to understand why this is happening in the college campuses? Where is this hate rhetoric? How do you wrap your head around it as a young Jewish woman to move it forward and to make it something positive so our audience can understand what you deal with and what you've dealt with, possibly what even our college kids are dealing with at the current time?
I think it's a lack of consequence. One, like why, when you ask why is this happening, I think it's a major lack of consequence. You see in Florida, it was shut down immediately when encampments were tried, and we didn't have the same catastrophes that were happening on campuses across the U.S. And when it comes to what's the solution, I don't have it. I'm pretty disappointed in all the organizations that claim to work in favor of students, and I feel like nothing's changed, and I really hope it does. But I am grateful for our Hillels and Chabads who have been a safe haven for Jewish students, and I encourage parents, forget students, but at the end of the day, it's your parents who like you grow up, you, what is it, nature versus nurture? Like it's not just in nature, but it's the way you're nurtured. And if you have parents who are telling you to hide your Judaism and hide your star, like you're just assimilating, and you're not being Jewish. The biggest shove in the face to everyone who wants us to be quiet and sit down is to
Mhm.
be louder and prouder. So it's up to parents to encourage their kids and stand behind them rather than telling them, oh, put it away, I want you to be safe. I always say that if something were to happen to a student, like some girl told me she was afraid of being spat on, I said, then put a GoPro on your head and walk around with the GoPro, and that'll be like the greatest story that happened to you, and it'll show how ugly they are and how much light you have. So it's really just a matter of staring that hate in the face and being more, being more grand, more Jewish, more proud.
Absolutely. And you grew up, your parents and their history is really, from the Holocaust. They were
Yeah,
survivors, they were thrivers afterwards, and that must have had something to do with your wanting to really continue being that voice of reason, being a voice of light and positive feedback for all of our communities.
absolutely. Absolutely. I feel it's not only, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not my responsibility, like I don't want it to be my job. It shouldn't be my job," but like it is our job. If you care about being Jewish, if you love being Jewish, if you love being a part of the community, if you care about our history, like it is your responsibility. It's all of our responsibilities. It's a collective responsibility to educate others, to be loud and proud, not wait for someone else to do it. It's up to us. It's up to you, whoever's listening.
Absolutely. And it's we were a little bit late getting started because you were in a shelter. You were in what's called a mamad, which is a safe room. I've spoken to my children who also were in the mamads today, the safe room. What is that experience? Walk me through the first time you had to go into a shelter, what that felt like. We have some role that we're going to show with you and the kids, but what is that feeling that first time?
Well, the first time I think it was like 6 o'clock in the morning or 5 a.m. The first
And
time I
this
got
and this was in after October 7th, so this was your recent visit, correct?
yeah, this was, I hadn't heard a siren until I moved here. And it was, I was in my bed, and all of a sudden I woke up, and my roommate, who actually was in Israel on October 7th, came knocking on my door, banging on my door. She's like, "That's a siren. Like, we gotta go." So in our pajamas, we all went downstairs, and it was for me, that was the first time I'd ever seen the siren, and I see like people holding their kids who are in their pajamas, and someone had like shampoo in her hair, and like she with a towel and she just come out of the towel, like out of the shower. It's chaotic, but it's the more it happens, it's more people are like, oh, like another one. It's really insane to me, especially how children adapt and just know what to do. Mainly, I mean, a lot of the sirens have been while I'm at school. I teach in an elementary school,
I
and
want to.
all of
I want to run. I want to run that roll so we can see the kids. What's going on here?
they're in the mamad, they're in the principal's office, which is the mamad, the safe room, and one of the teachers put music on, and the kids were just singing and dancing, and like it's like Israeli pride songs, not just like fun pop music. They're like, we will not be defeated, like like good, strong Israeli spirit songs. And when you have kids around you that are just like dancing and it's something incredibly beautiful, actually. Yeah, they were amazing. There were, of course, there's always kids who are afraid and scared, but you also to see that little girl comforting her sibling or her friend. I notice here in Israel, like families are a lot closer than possibly back in the States. I mean, I know my brother and I fought a lot at that age, but here in this school, I watched the siblings walk to school together holding hands. And when the mamad happens, they're always checking up on their sibling. And so it's something beautiful in the darkness, I always say. There's Israeli spirit. You can't kill it. It's really special. But it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that when a siren goes off, the kids, like, we're all in a mamad. We're all in the safe room under 2 minutes. Like, everyone is in a safe room. So it's an unfortunate reality. Today, we were drinking coffee on the sidewalk at 5 p.m. Everyone's heading home from work, and the siren went off, and there wasn't a safe room around, and we had to run to a parking garage right next door. And my boyfriend has one leg, so we can't like run. It's just it's the reality. It's a crazy reality.
So, is it something that you just accept? Is it something that makes you angry? Is it something that makes you sad? Is it like, what happens after that moment when you're out and you're breathing air again? And are you afraid for your life, or what goes on after that moment?
The moment passes and everyone else just goes back to normal, so I go back to normal. It's pretty incredible in the craziest sense of incredible. But society just unpauses. Like, my coffee was just a little colder when we got back. And you just keep chatting about life, and it's how it goes here. It's crazy, and it's something I don't know that I will ever get used to it, at least anytime soon. But everyone else here is sort of used to it, and they know the reality. But I trust in the IDF. I trust in my country, and I trust in Hashem.
That's a God. That's God. And so the difference between living there and visiting for you. You're an English teacher. You're doing some modeling now. I see you getting out there in the world.
Dabbling.
Dabbling is okay, because you're there for how long now?
I've been here for about a month and a half.
A month and a half. Wow. So what was dispel the myth of what you thought you were dealing with and what the reality that you got yourself into? Is it more than what you bargained for? I know it's more than what you bargained for your mother and your father, but
Yeah. I mean, I expected sirens. I didn't expect a full-blown war with Lebanon, but here we are. And honestly,
and you're a designer too. I just want to jump to that while we have it on the screen. You're a designer. You designed that dress. Bring it home now.
Yeah, I painted it. I expected, I think it was just more of something that I need to work on with my therapist rather than Israel's fault. But I just had really high expectations, which I've been told to lower in life in order to be happier. But I had really high expectations for who was going to be there for me and who was going to invite me places. And it wasn't that case. Like, people have a life. I'm not on vacation. It's the middle of the year. People are working. People have school. And Israeli kids are another breed of human that I've never seen in my life. And they're really difficult to teach. And it's also really hard communicating when they only speak Hebrew mostly, and I mostly pretty much only speak English. So it's all just trials and tribulations. It's not
Abso Yeah,
it's
it is
like
a trial and error sometimes. Well, what was some of the reality what other realities did you have or surprises that Israel has so far, shown itself in the last 6 weeks that you've been there?
um
The phone would ring.
yeah, my phone just rang. That's bizarre. What are some of the realities?
Or some
Um,
surprises that you didn't know about Israel.
Ooh, that's a really good question. Surprises that I didn't know about Israel. It's kind of odd to say there aren't any. I'm honestly the most shocking thing for me is just the kids, how normal it is for them when sirens go off, how they know where to go, they know what to do. I don't think it doesn't get old. Like every time I go to my building doesn't have a mamad, a safe room in my apartment. There's only one in the basement of the whole building. So to go down and all the families and kids come down, the kids just like, no, they just go. And they're not crying, they're not screaming, like they're just there. They want to play games, they want to talk. So that's the most surprising. It just, you'll always be surprised by how amazing is, and it's an amazing surprise how Israelis are so strong and
Mm.
resilient.
And we just celebrated the 1-year anniversary of October 7th, and
Yeah.
I know you made a journey to the
Yes.
Nova Festival, and we're going to show some vid there. What was that like to see this really graveyard of for people, 1,200 people that were enjoying a concert in an
Yeah,
early morning?
I've been to Raim several times now, and it again, I feel like I'm a broken record, but it doesn't get old. They It's just as heartbreaking every single time you go, and it's honestly more freaky. Like you get chills just walking around, seeing so many young faces and seeing the memorials that their families have set up for them. It's just you can hear Russian screaming in the background. Sorry.
There's a
Um,
Russian screaming in the background. Okay, we'll
like
take it.
my dad's deaf, his mom's deaf. So um slicha, excuse me. But I don't know. It gives me chills. It makes me angry, is what it does. When I go, every time I visit the site and I see all of the faces, and the more you live here, the more connected you are, and the more stories you hear, and it just it's heartbreaking. It makes me angry. It makes me angry that this happened. How did it happen, and
Yes.
why did it happen? There's no good answer for it at all. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. And it's just their faces are a reminder to live life to the fullest, but also to tell their stories. It's most importantly.
Absolutely. And in the climate, we're back live now. In the climate of doing the work that you did, you found love in a very unique place. So perhaps tell me a little bit about that. Your face softened when I said that to you. So perhaps tell me a little bit about the backstory.
Sure. On my last mission here before I moved, I was in the hospital in Shikum, which is rehabilitation center. I was on a mission with American Friends of Sheba, and I saw a really cute soldier sitting at a table, and I sat down with him. He started talking. I asked to record it, and afterwards, I texted him and asked him out, and we went out, and we've been dating since. So I found love in a hopeless place. Um, but he's amazing. His name's Daniel. And I'm Danielle. It's Danielle with Danielle. It's perfect. But also, he's just one of the kindest, he's really funny too. I'm in love with my boyfriend.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what that his experience, what happened that in his journey, and why was he in rehabilitation, and the events that
Sure.
led to all of this?
So he was First, he was on the Lebanon border on October 7th and 8th when Hezbollah actually launched rockets back then. And he said it was like the scariest moment of his life, more scary than Gaza. Because, Hezbollah is a different army. And they were just alone, young 20-year-old soldiers on the base by themselves because everyone was deployed in the south. And they just saw what was happening through Telegram while they were there. And they were just feared for their lives that before they knew it, Hezbollah was going to start like ground invasion or something.
Mhm.
So that was terrifying. And then they came, they were rescued. And then he went to a commander course. And on his last 2 weeks of commander course, fast forward to March of this year, and February. And on the last 2 weeks of his commander course, they went into Gaza for a mission to go look for hostages, to clear terrorists. And on the first day, they were booby-trapped by Hamas terrorists who detonated a booby trap from far away. And 3 of his friends were killed, and 15 were injured, including him. And he was rescued and brought to Soroka Hospital, where he was recovering for a month. And then he was moved to Tel HaShomer Shiva Hospital for his rehabilitation, where we dated. I met him 1 month after the injury, like right when he'd gotten to Shiva. And he was released a month ago, and thank God. And he's got his prosthetic, and he's walking, he's doing sports, and we'll see what's next.
Absolutely. A very positive message. And I'm glad, and continued healing to Danielle. And just my last question is, what message about Israel would you like us to take away from today and from what you've experienced in the last 6 weeks and in the work that you've been doing?
That we are not going anywhere. That the more they send rockets, the more the anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism rises. You see the numbers of Aliyah rising, and we're only growing in number. And in all the pain, we're mourning together, we're standing together, we're stronger than ever before. And we're not going anywhere. Israel's not going anywhere. This is the homeland of the Jewish people, and we'll protect each other and anyone living on this land at all costs.
Love it. Danielle,
It's safe. Make Aliyah. That's my message. Everyone make Aliyah. Everyone move to Israel. It's safe. It's as safe as it can be. Come to Israel.
Absolutely. And may you be safe, and may Israel reign. I'm Israel Chai, and only good things for you too, Danielle. And thank you for taking the time, and please be safe. I know your mother and father want you to be safe, and
I'm safe.
and only good things, and continue good work. Thank you for this time together.
Thank you.
I'm Fara Sax. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Have a great